Moon gang. Hello.
Oh brother, we are live again for the afternoon session today, Wednesday, September 29th. Let's get right after it.
What is going on, folks? Man, oh man. Not much of a way to sugarcoat it. I'm feeling some pain right now in my AMC GME position, and if I'm being realistic, I'm actually feeling a pain in a high majority of my positions. This is just, it's painful. Like I don't know. I don't this concept of people trying to pitch of like no, like this drop is good, it's fine, blah blah blah. No, if it drops, it sucks. Like, we're in this game for it to go higher and higher. Now, with that being said, like, do I think this is like a done play? No, because I'm cognizant of what's happening in the overall market, and I think that's important. IWM is down, the SPY, that's been selling off, the Qs, that has been selling off. All three of these indices, they gapped up this morning, and they've been selling off throughout the day. And this is not an ape stock, a moon stock, a meme stock, a Reddit stock. It's not specific to that. It's specific to the fact that people have no idea what's going on in the US right now with the debt ceiling and all of that. And we're going to hop more into that information. But I'm seeing a lot of people, and maybe I'm off base on this one, but I really don't think I am. Of like, a lot of people are saying, oh, AMC and GME, they're just shorting it. They're shorting into oblivion. This is a short attack. I mean, folks, the data's not necessarily agreeing with that. For example, AMC, it's a net return. They shorted maybe 1.1 million. And of course, they could be carrying over some from yesterday. That's a possibility. Just these shares on loan. They didn't have to go short the day they were taken out on loan, but let's just run with this number. This 1 million on GME, 262,000. We saw those numbers from the start of the day. AMC's traded 32 million. So that's about 3%, 4% of the volume could theoretically be short. GME, they traded 1.27. We've traded 2. So that's about like 1/6. Like, they definitely could short. They 100% could have shorted today. But a lot of this sell-off, I think this is people who are scared. Not necessarily apes. Like, I'm sure there were some scared apes who ended up paper handing it. But we have day traders. We have swing traders. We have institutions. We have market makers. We have high-frequency traders. We have banks. We have pension funds. We have the ETFs that hold these. As the ETFs go down, they're going to sell. And at the end of the day, whether it's a short or a person getting out of a long position, selling is selling. That's all that we care about. If you sell to create a position, you're going short. If you sell to get out of a position, you're cutting a long position. But it doesn't matter. Selling is selling. There's no difference in terms of the material impact on price, whether you're short or closing along, because selling is selling. Hitting the sell button is hitting the sell button. So, I mean, at a certain point, like, I understand, like, trying to discuss, okay, like, is it shorts? Like, what's going on in the short interest? But for us, it really does come down to the line of, like, just what is the stock doing? And if I had to throw out a thesis right now of AMC, GME, the stock market at large, people just do not know what's going on. They don't. We're in a period currently of uncertainty. And when there's uncertainty, and I'm referring to the debt ceiling and defaulting on our debt, the market hates uncertainty. It absolutely hates it. And you see what's going on right now when there is uncertainty. And it's one of these things that when that uncertainty gets resolved, well, then the market just starts pushing higher. But right now, as we get closer and closer to midnight tomorrow, that's the government shutdown. And then if they don't figure it out by then we're kind of looking at the default of debt, which I believe is October 18th. I think it's October 18th. Pretty sure about that. So with it right here, what you're seeing in AMC and GME, it's not what I'm seeing. It's not specific to AMC and GME. And I think a lot of people, especially the apes, when I was just scrolling through on Twitter there, a lot of the people, they kind of almost act as if AMC and GME are the only stocks in the entire stock market. Right now, it is a sea of red. This is not maybe a portion of it is some sort of short attack of like the people who have been, I guess, trying to handle this AMC GME position. Maybe they're attempting to use the overall market's weakness to drive it down by an exceptional amount. I mean, AMC's trading at 36 right now. It's down. It's not even down that much. We've actually had worse days. It's down sub 3%. GME's down 1.1%. We've all been through it. There's a good chance that if you've watched more than one of these streams, there's a very, very good chance that you've seen worse days than today. So for me, it sucks. I look at my account; it's down a lot. I'm feeling the pain today, but you just sit. This is what the market is. When I'm saying, "Hey, ding, 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 the casino's open," you're not always winning in the casino. But really, I wouldn't even count it as a win or a loss until it's actually locked in. So for me, not locking in anything related to AMC and GME, it's just another day. But I'm right there with you. I'm sitting it. It's painful. It's painful, and I'm not here to, I guess, like, in a certain sense, like, bullshit you. Like, no, I'm sitting in my chair. I'm feeling the pain exactly with all of you, and I'm hoping that, like, we have extremely better days ahead. But I'm not here to be like, oh, no, wait, consider this. It's everything's perfectly fine. No, red days suck. Green days are awesome. We're having a red day. So patience, calm, cool, collected, waiting for the next green day. And hopefully it's a gigantic one. Before we get into some of the things going over like the overall market, speaking of this kind of manipulation and hedge funds and what they do or don't do, I think this is a very, very interesting clip, and shout out to Rogue the Legacy for sending it my way. This is currently on Superstonk. It is written by Random Guy That's Cool. So shout out for posting this. Very, very interesting. So Rogue the Legacy sent it to me on Twitter. It's posted by Random Guy That's Cool on Superstonk. About 14,000 upvotes, excuse me. Very, very interesting. Ex-hedge fund CEO Mark confirms that market makers use deep in the money calls and puts to create synthetic shares that they then sell to retail investors. So let's give this a listen. Very, very interesting.
But your deposition in that lawsuit is very damning of Goldman, including its use of options conversions to create fake shares to trade or lend out. And I read that Goldman tried to seal your court transcript. How did you find out about the options conversions, and how did they work?
What goes on, what you say with your fine, basically, I'll simply say crime pays. So whoever is out there watching this, or whoever listens to what I have to say, listen to this carefully. Your brokerage firm does not give a rat's fucking ass about you. Robinhood could care less about you. None of these brokerage firms could care about you. They've all paid significant fines. Citadel's paid huge fines. Robinhood's paid fines. All these guys have paid fines. And it's basically like paying a speeding ticket. They just don't care. They don't care. They don't make changes. They don't give a rat's ass about you. So when we did this deposition, if you will, I couldn't stand Goldman. I couldn't stand Overstock. My lawyer, Shapiro, who was with me at the deposition, told the Goldman lawyer, do not ask Mark about Goldman and what Goldman did with the firm. Stay away from that, because that is red meat in front of a jaguar. And sure enough, the lawyer did, and I just lit into him. And I went over exactly how Goldman does business. And you know, these conversions, if you will, are or should be illegal, but there's a little loophole in this that I'll get into later. And basically, if Goldman and or market makers in stocks and in options can be short the stock without a borrow. They can short you stock without them borrowing it, and they sell calls. They sell deep in the money calls for a premium, and they buy deep in the money puts, and they then sell you the fake or created shares where there's no borrow. And you have the shares, and when the borrow gets pulled or bought in, they simply reverse that trade, let's say for June, and roll it to July. And then when the issue happens in July, they roll July into August. So they keep rolling this trade as long as the customer wants it without ever having to deliver the shares. Now, there's a loophole that says market makers do not need to borrow shares to keep, in quotes, air quote, a fair and orderly market. And this is where the so-called naked shorting or shorting without a borrow comes from. Citadel, if they're a market maker in this day and age, can be short all the pick the name you want. And they don't need a borrow and they don't need to pay the borrow fees because if asked, they're maintaining a fair and orderly market. So market makers can legally, and this is the irony of this whole thing, can legally be naked short a stock without a borrow because that is the law and that is the rule.
So a couple of things to talk about there. Crazy. Once again, if you want to find it, it is like to rewatch it or something. It's on Superstock, on Reddit, ex-hedge fund CEO Mark, and it's written by random cool guy. That's cool. So shout out to all of them and shout out to Rogue the Legacy for sending it my way. So a couple of things to dive into on that. Let me bring up the chart just so you can see what's going on here. When we talk about naked shorting and naked shorts and synthetics and who can do what, I think it's very important to think about it in two different tranches. So tranche one is a little bit easier. Like this vertical is a little bit easier to understand. You basically have a party who's going to their broker, their prime broker. They say they want to short. And I'm talking about like a hedge fund or some bank or something like that, but not a market maker. Think of like just a quote unquote normal stock market participant. Think hedge funds, think retail, something that's not a market maker. They go to their, most likely, let's say the hedge fund goes to the prime broker. They're like, I want to short. They say, okay, cool, do it. And then the prime broker never locates the shares or they have a tough time locating the shares. The hedge fund already went short though, because they didn't locate the shares, it's a naked short. They sold something that they never had this like ownership of. So that's very, very important. That's like one entire vertical. The other vertical, and that's naked shorting right there, and that produces FTDs and all that good jazz. The other vertical is the type of naked shorting that is done by market makers. So market makers are providing liquidity. They're building out the bid. They're building out the ask on both sides, the bid, the ask of the level two. A lot of those shares that you see there are from market makers. So like Mark was just referring to, and that's like it's one of their things that is it's in their own definition of a fair and orderly market. The market maker does what they want in this system. They can fill out the ask as in sell stock, and that's legal. Like even if they don't have the shares, they could be like, no, this is for a fair and orderly market. They're their own judge, jury, and executioner in this situation, and I find it baffling. I truly, truly do. So once again, we're in the second vertical. We're not talking about prime brokers. We're not talking about hedge funds. I think that one's straightforward. They're selling something. The prime broker doesn't locate it. It becomes a naked short, blah, 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 FTDs. Second one is when you look at the level two on a Webull, you're going to see the New York Stock Exchange, and I think that's a good example. The NYSE, that's what Webull has on theirs, the bid, the ask. A lot of what you see is from a market maker, and that's sometimes when you hear the terminology short exempt, that's talking about market makers because you're in certain situations such as SSR, short sale restriction, where a stock dropped 10% relative to its previous day's close, so people aren't supposed to short it because of the dog pile impact if it's trending downward. If it's going up on SSR, you can still short it. But anyway, you see the stock selling off, right? It's on SSR. And you're like, well, hang on, like who's shorting it then? Why do we have this thing called short exempt? It's the market makers. They are selling stock. And in this case, they're exempt from it. And what's like the real doozy of it, well, they're exempt from it because they're looking for like a fair and orderly market, and they don't want things to get out of whack by their own definition. But the real kicker to it is they can sell when you shouldn't be selling. And on top of it, for them, they actually don't even have to locate the shares. Like it is literally by their own freaking whim that they're like, nah, let's sell more, which is, to me, it's so crazy. It's so crazy and it's unchecked. Now, maybe there's some sort of functionality of like, okay, well, we want people to sell because maybe someone's in there is trying to buy and no one else is selling it to them because they're scared. So maybe it's just at a certain point you need to be able to express some level of demand. I get that. I really do. I bet there's some sort of fancy PhD level argument. But what I don't get is when you have all this seemingly omnipotent power surrounding the market, it's very bad when that power is controlled by one person, Citadel Securities, and sometimes the duopoly of Citadel Securities and Virtu. To me, when you're giving one entity that much power and they're their own self-checkers, that's a recipe for disaster. I mean, we recently saw about Citadel. They were bragging about it. We are the preeminent market maker. We provided all this liquidity. No one else did. That's not good. I mean, you're going to hear of like the stock market is basically a house of cards, but right there you have these people who they're bragging about it. They think it's a good thing that they're the one person. That tells me that in the scenario where like shit hits the fan, it means we're that much closer to like easily failing. I don't like the fact that our safety net is essentially one or two market makers who it doesn't take much for them. Just search SEC, FinRefine, and put in either name, and you're going to find a slew of them. And that's just the ones that we caught. They get hit with a little speeding ticket. So it's not like we're dealing with some like altruistic, non-for-profit liquidity player. These people are in business. They care about their bottom line. We've given them a lot of power. And what they're doing, a lot of it's still by the definition of like our current legal system, it's above board. That's the crazy part. And we have given them free range to run. And a lot of it is above board of like, no, what you're doing, like that's actually legal. And yet we still catch them for doing illegal things. We've given them so much room to run, which I think is a horrifically stupid idea. And on top of that, we're still catching them for things. We are still catching them for things. We're like, dude, the rules are lax and you're still playing outside of the rules. It blows my mind, I think that's a cool video. And the way they do some of it to show that they're good on the positions kind of from a technical perspective is you're selling super deep in the money calls as in like very low strike price. And then you're buying super deep out of the money puts, which is a very, very high price. So in the money, super in the money calls, very low price, super in the money puts, outright like super high, like they're both going to be in the money. You sell the calls, you buy the puts, and basically that is in a sense what allows them to roll it from month to month to month. And that's how they're not from a technical term, but really just from a colloquial term, that's how they're not defaulting on anything, is because they're like, no, look, we have it right here, when really they don't. They're just rolling it. And all of that's not illegal right now. Like anything that I'm going over right there with you, not illegal, which is just, it's absurd. It's absolutely absurd. Actually, the other thing I did want to Rogue Legacy. Why is this not coming up? Hang on. Where's his account? Where is Rogue's account? Hopefully he tweet here. What's it? Rogue. Why was Rogue the Legacy not coming up? Did I misspell it? Rogue the Legacy. All right, that's crazy. I'm searching it and spelling it properly, and it doesn't even come up. Wait, what am I have to be misspelling something. Oh, yeah. Okay, the U is off. Anyway, so he sent me that video, but what's also very interesting here is this one. Speaking of things that are actually illegal, check this out. This is posted by AC Speed on AMC Stock 3 hours ago. But once again, this is on AMC Stock subreddit, AC Speed. So now we're talking about actually like legitimately illegal things. And if you want to check this out yourself, it is posted in one of my recent videos, but here's the actual document of like kind of what's going on. And people are really diving into of just some of the just pure insanity that we end up having to deal with. And right here. So this is 220. And actually, let me just check this just to double check that we have the exact same source here. I only want to give this stuff out if it is accurate to the T. 220. Where are you? 220 is on page. So if you're finding that the court document yourself, this is a very different 220. This may cause some big moves. Hang on, let me control F. This may... So actually, where are they getting this? Hang on. This is the issue of when people don't post their sources. Hang on. I don't want to give this too much airtime if I can't confirm the source myself. I sold... Yeah. Where did they get this? 140 each time Robinhood customer trades market makers. If anyone, I thought this was from the court document. Each time, I'm having a tough time tracking any. I just wanted to confirm it, and now I'm having some problems myself. Hang on one quick second. Yeah, so if you're using the case 121 MD 02989 CMA, it does not seem to be what I'm seeing here. So anyone, I'm just very curious, and before I give it like too much airtime, I do want, if you have the actual source for this stuff, send it my way, because I'm just trying to confirm it, because there's too much, honestly, there's too much false information that goes out there. And when people do this, like, I don't see the problem. Like, if you're going to post on Reddit, like, have at it. That is great. It's how we find stuff. But why not post the source? Like, people love to screenshot, and it's so easy to alter any page you need. Like, you could change the text. You can change whatever you need and then just screenshot it and put it up there. I'm telling you, if you happen to be like an active user of Twitter, of Reddit, of any of this, I beg you, please post the source so people can like double check it so we're all on the exact same page. Very, very incredibly important. All right, let me go back to this. So I'm taking this off the screen for now until I just can get the actual source. I'd rather go into a source rather than a screenshot because there's enough info out there. House will vote on the debt ceiling suspension that is doomed in the Senate. Well, this doesn't seem good. What do we have? House will vote on a debt ceiling suspension that is doomed in the Senate. The House will vote Wednesday on a bill that would suspend the U.S. debt ceiling. According to Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Republicans will reject the legislation in the Senate as they say that it will not support a debt limit increase or suspension. Democrats are trying to prevent two potential crises this week: a possible government shutdown and a first ever USD fall. Well, something has to be going on in more of a positive term, because we just saw a big upswing from 150 to 215. Definitely a notable upswing. So is something positive happening? CEI. I see a lot of people talking about CEI. CEI is like a madman. Wow, hang on. I'm trying to find a point for you guys to even... What a rip. What a rip. All right, we're at 480. 640, maybe? Wow. CEI up 50% on the day. Congrats if you're in CEI. Congrats. I'm just trying to mark out some levels that everyone could realistically use. All right. So hopefully this gives someone a little bit of assistance. How do I just jump over here? All right, there we go. Wow, CEI is on the move. So just from some of the technical things I saw a while ago, I mean, this is nice volume, 630 million. It's above 410. You could watch 640 and then 760 as possible levels. Like, this is just crazy. Seriously, if you're in it, huge congrats, because there's not many green things in the market today, and this happens to be one of them. And honestly, it's been a pretty easy hold for all of you all day. That is incredible. So solid. Like, hey, congrats to everyone who stuck to their guns on that one. Crazy. If market maker can generate short shares and not pay interest to maintain the market according to how they define that, then wouldn't that cause them to feel obligated to buy them back? Then what would cause them? So if they sell and they're short, I guess what would cause them is just balancing their own book, but they could balance their book whenever they need to. Like, so let's say that there was some random stock that they are seriously underwater on. They could just keep swinging that through the deep in the money calls and puts as long as they need to till it comes back to normality and balance their book out. They trade with risk, but I would argue it's way less risk than like any other normal stock market participant carries. Why was CEI so expensive before 2020? It wasn't. That's the difference in price. You see that in a lot of weird stocks. Like, for example, pull up CTRM. It's through stock splits, reverse splits. So that is going to end up altering it. But it's not like CEI was ever trading truly at those values. When they change the split and go back retroactively, it looks like that. So I guess if it looks a lot higher, then it would now look like a reverse split. So it looks like CEI probably did some sort of reverse split. I could double check it. CEI stock reverse split. Yes. So Camber Energy back in October of 2019 did a 1-for-50 reverse split. So that would be almost like 1 for 50. That's quite a bit of difference. So that's almost $200. So that's why it looks so different, is because of the reverse split. It was never actually trading at that numeric value, but now when you redo it, that's like why, for example, when you do a normal split of like Tesla or Apple, the price all looks a lot lower, even though like previously it was actually trading higher. A reverse split does the exact opposite. Halted. CEI halt. Yes, sir, Bob. So this is just a volatility halt. It dropped. It had just too much volatility too quickly, so it's a circuit breaker halt. Crazy. Oh, SPY. Congressional Budget Office says if the debt limit remains unchanged, the Treasury's ability to borrow using extraordinary measures will be exhausted, and it will most likely run out of cash near the end of October or beginning of. Where is this? Beginning of November. Crazy. Whatever. Man, our government right now, they're definitely in some sort of pissing match. VIPS, Tiblio call out, LEV, EA, Under Armour even. What about the bear squeeze? What are they saying for bears? Wayfair, VMware, Royal Bank of Canada. These are just some things. The first set was a bull squeeze. What I just called out is all a bear squeeze. I'm curious to see how CEI opens back up. I wonder if people are just going to be like, yo, 50-cent discount right here. Congress votes to legalize marinara today. Is there a certain stock you suggest to keep an eye on? Tilray and probably the sector ETF MJ. What would be a hypothetical bond put inflation continues? Also thoughts on Boeing puts with China news would be a hypothetical bond put play. So when I play bonds, it's all through the treasury market. In the stock market, or sorry, the futures market. For the stock market, you would probably, I think the main one, probably the highest volume one, is TLT, which, as you could see, the bonds are going down because the yields are going up. So TLT is probably the most highly traded bond play, TLT. As for Boeing, BA, Boeing, honestly, like I know what you're saying about China. Did it gap fill today? Maybe close, very close to a gap fill. Boeing just not moving, honestly. Like, it shot up and now we're just kind of sideways. It's at the same exact level it was at December of last year. So Boeing right now not being a big mover by any means. Look of the Irish just sent you a source link on Twitter. Irish on Twitter. Did you DM it or tag me? Would love to bring this up. Irish on Twitter. Irish. Maybe you messaged it. Maybe you... Nope. I have no... Like, the DM thing is so weird. I don't know what's working. It says... Well, no. A DM just came in from 8 minutes ago. Irish. Not finding it. I figured it out. It is that document. They just screenshotted different points and put them into one image for Reddit. That's the document though. Okay, so it is the document. It is there. Are we sure about this? Is my search mechanism just like not working? Okay, I think I might have found some of it. Yeah, hang on. Let me double check some of this. 12, 15, 16, 140, and 22, 220. 12, 15, and 16. Let me just double check that these are all right, because then I think it brings it together. Robinhood knew the highest level of Robinhood. Okay, yeah. 12, 15, 16. Each time Robinhood's customer trades, each time. I think, okay, sweet. I'm happy that we're not 140. Okay, yeah. I don't know why this search wasn't working before, but it looks like all of them are verified. Cool. Now we could dive back into actually this, now that it's that exact same one with the case court hearing that everyone's been looking for or like citing anyway. If you want, that is found on both Kohrs Lite and Matt Kohrs. The one where I talk about jail and Robinhood and Citadel and collusion, I linked it in all of those so you can find it. But anyway, now, okay, I feel a little bit more comfortable diving into this. Let me just zoom in really quickly here. All right. So once again, this is posted by AC Speed on AMC Stock subreddit. Feel free to check it out, and thank you, AC Speed, for putting it together. According to the former Citadel Securities Senior Vice President in an internal chat with Citadel Securities Head of Execution Services on January 28th, keep that in mind, at 1:48 p.m., Robinhood moving the following equity to positions to closing only. AMC, GME, and some others. Remember, that's PCO, position close only. All PCO Citadel acknowledged this may cause some big moves, emphasis added. When asked about options at 155, Citadel said options moving to closing all only in all symbols. So this was January 28th. Which is kind of interesting. So right now they're just acknowledging that's going to move. This necessarily, I don't think would be from a legal standpoint considered be like, oh, did you use your position to somehow influence it? They just knew that it like would cause issues. But that's not really the interesting thing about this post. It does get pretty interesting. Robinhood knew that the highest levels of the company, that its risk management system was strained to the breaking point during the week of January 25th. Robinhood Securities President and COO, Chief Operating Officer. Wait a minute. The COO, isn't that Gretchen Howard? Isn't the COO Gretchen Howard? Wait, what? Yeah. Gretchen Howard, Robinhood's Chief Operating Officer. Oh, wait, Robinhood's the president. Is there like two different meanings for COO here? Gretchen Howard is definitely the Chief Operating Officer. Hang on. Who is this Jim fella? And Jim, Chief Operator of Robin. Oh, okay. Robinhood and then Robinhood Securities. Okay, hang on. This is... Okay, you have Robinhood's Chief Operating Officer and then Robinhood Securities Chief Operating Officer. That's the difference. That's why there's two different COOs, just so everyone knows. Who anyway, Robinhood Securities President and COO Jim different Robinhood securities versus Robinhood, who Tenev points to as making the ultimate call to PCO, says in an internal chat on the 26th, Tuesday. So basically the 26th is Tuesday. So you have Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday. So Friday is going to be the 28th. I sold my AMC today. FYI, tomorrow morning, we are moving GME to 100%. So you are aware. That's bad. That is bad. I don't know if that's necessarily insider trading, but it's super illegal. Insider would be like you have insider knowledge to the company. This is like insider knowledge to the biggest retail brokerage platform. You cannot abuse your position like this. Even after the NSCC exercised its discretion to reduce the capital call to protect the system from Robinhood's admitted default, Robinhood held fast to its decision to implement a position closing only policy, deciding before 8 a.m. Eastern on January 28th, PCO top 4 symbols, blah, 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 despite acknowledging we aren't paying $3 billion worth. Jesus, so bad. Each time Robinhood customers trades, market makers such as Citadel Securities actually buy or sell shares and determine what the price gets. I don't know why this last one is necessary there from pays. To me, this acknowledgement under 12, which you can find in that court filing, 12 and 15, whoa. That is some messed up stuff to do. They knew it. They acknowledged the type of impact they would have, and they used that to trade on it. And I guess they sold, so they got out at a good point, which is just wild. They're moving it. FYI, tomorrow we are moving GME to 100%, so you are aware. Like, holy crap. This is so bad. Like, it's such an absurd abuse of your position and your power. In this one, I don't know if it's necessarily indicative of like illegalities on Citadel Securities' part, but like to me, honestly, this entire document is more and more proof of how messed up Robinhood it is, and the lying that was constructed between Vlad Tenev, Gretchen Howard, and Jim Swartwood. Jim, whatever this Jim is, Swartwood, Swartout, whatever that name is. Crazy last name. But the more and more, like, I've read through this document now like a handful of times, like more than I would like to admit. And the more that goes on with it, it's just ridiculous. And it seems to be super bad for Robinhood and pretty bad for Citadel. But once again, the Citadel thing, the evidence that needs to be produced is proof that they use their power and influence for the whole PCO thing, the position close only. Like there's a litany. There's an entire book of proof that they talked. Like that's not the proof. Like we know Robinhood and Citadel talk. Like that's not a big deal whatsoever. The interesting thing of like when we're talking about like perjury and jail time and fines is, did Citadel use its position to influence Robinhood's decision to do PCO? But beyond that, Robinhood, it's in a mess right now. So you have one day Gretchen Howard, the COO of Robinhood, not Robinhood Securities, of Robinhood, saying major liquidity problem. Very next day, Vlad Tenev says no liquidity problem. And now on top of that, people are starting to point out that even the acknowledgement, as they're just like casually talking about it between Robinhood and Citadel, they're trading on it. They 100% knew what their decisions would like prompt and cause, and they traded on that before it was public information. You cannot do that. I don't know if it's technically insider trading. I mean, that's like the definition of how the SEC would define all of that. But that's insane. Like when you have things like this being stated, I sold my AMC today. FYI, tomorrow morning we're moving GME to 100%. So you are aware. How do we live in a world where these people aren't like, I guess, thrown into the gauntlet, and then you have people like Keith Gill who are pulled in front of them and they're like, you were manipulating the stock. And then we have ding-dongs like Jim Cramer and dipshit Charlie who are like, this is social media manipulation. They're doing this, they're doing that. What are you talking about? This is the legitimate insider trading or whatever it would legally be called and manipulation by these guys. And yet they're just trying to say, oh, it's social media. This guy on YouTube, this guy on Twitter. Like, what are you talking about? It's so crazy. It's such a like intellectually dishonest argument. This is what we're battling against. This is 100% what we are battling against. And for me, AMC and GME have become the symbolic fight against that, of everything we just went over and the things that we've been calling out and been like, hang on, like what the hell is all this? That's what AMC and GME, to me, it's very far removed from like a normal stock at this point. I think of AMC and GME, of course, as a stock, but nothing else that's ever happened in the stock market, and definitely no current stock, is of the same level of AMC and GME. To me, AMC and GME, I hold it. I'm not going to guarantee a squeeze. If you're listening to me right now, you cannot guarantee a squeeze because it's this kind of crap we're fighting against. They're politically motivated. They have basically like an endless supply of money. They have an endless supply of power. Anyone who's trying to tell you that this is like, oh, this is an easy fight, we have this in the bag, like this has to happen, XYZ has to happen. No, it doesn't. Not in the least. But I'm also at the point in my life where I could take this risk. Right now, like days like today, my account's seriously down, but I'm also prepared for my current investment to go to zero on AMC and GME. It's honestly that simple. And I'm, I guess, in the position in my life where I could take that risk. I'm not saying that risk is meant for everyone. You got to do what you got to do. But for me, and I know for many people listening right now, this is the fight that I'm willing to engage in. I am willing, all the money and time and effort that I put into it, I am willing to risk all of that. This AMC GME thing, I'm exactly what we've been talking about between market makers and these brokerages and really just like some of the clear inherent issues of our overall system. AMC and GME are a symbol of trying to fix those problems. Will AMC and GME be the ones that fix it? I don't know. My fingers crossed that, yeah, but I don't know. And anyone that's telling you something has to happen, they're so full of shit. They're as full of shit as Robinhood and Citadel. Anyone trying to guarantee anything, they just don't know what they're talking about. Whatever you do, it's risk reward. The way I view it, AMC and GME are clearly, they're in a league of their own. They are symbolic of the fight for market transparency, market fairness. But anything else we talk about, well, I look at those as like legitimate trades. You shouldn't be talking about ATER, BBIG, SPRT, GREE, any of these in the same league as AMC and GME. Like, I need to make this very clear. I put AMC and GME in a category where every single cent I put into it, I'm willing at this point in time to just go to zero. And there's not going to be much that changes that, I guess, until what? We fix these rules, until the mother of all short squeezes actually occurs. Okay, like when in those events, we'll talk then. But in the meantime, nah. Everything else, though, we're talking about CEI, IWM, the SPY, Tesla, any of these other stocks. Well, okay, folks, that's an active trade. That's where you have to measure out your risk, your reward. And I guess AMC and GME, you're still measuring out your risk and reward, but it's a lot more higher level. Or I guess you do it. I just set my risk to zero. So like, okay, that's what it's at. But things like CEI, all of those, no one ever should be comparing any other stock, the methodology that is currently being applied to AMC and GME, to any other stock. I think that's very, very dangerous, and I think that could be a recipe for disaster. We've seen this new breed of trade that's I refer to as an FTD short squeeze play, and that's where people have been like starting to pay attention to these other stocks. And hey, it's made a lot of people a lot of money, but it's still a different type of trade. So if you're listening right now, I'm just really, really trying to drive home that point, because I don't want anyone thinking that they could go around and treat other stocks the way we're currently treating AMC and GME. You just can't do that. All right, what do we have here? Mark Sinclair, your voice sounds tired or sick. My wife is an ER nurse and MP in Philly. We would love to help. If you need, you could reach out, by the way, and run for mayor of the Rust Belt. Going also. Nope, Kevin, I'm all good. I appreciate that. That is wait, hang on. What is this? Very, very kind offer, but I mean, maybe my voice is a little rough right now exclusively because I, during break, checked out how much my account was down, and that wasn't the most fun. But hey, it's another day. It's another day in the trenches. CEI halted. MJ vote in 1 hour. Thoughts on Tilray at current value? I mean, it's gonna, if Tilray, if it gets passed and voted on in the yay category, Tilray, MJ, severely undervalued, but I guess people are just waiting on it. I find it odd that it's down 3.4% on a day that might cause it to go absolutely haywire. It sounds, Kyle, are you saying that the vote's at 4 p.m. Eastern? It's kind of interesting to me that the vote would be right at market close. So it sounds like we might be getting some overall movement in the marinara sector, depending on how this vote does happen. Or it's like actively happening. Someone said down 16 right now. Or well, there's various votes. Like right now we have, hang on, public. All right, do that. Interesting. I know it sounds like, okay, we have the marinara vote, but then we also have whatever's going on in the House for the debt. Hang on, let me see if there's any quick developments on this stuff. CEI halted now twice. All right. All right. No. Here, I'm just going to some for the news of like when I'm just trying to get like a very quick update. I really like to check Zero Hedge on Twitter and also Walter Bloomberg. Senate will vote to avert shutdown. Pelosi reschedules infrastructure vote after progressives refuse to budge. Jeez Louise. And now yield spiking feels like some huge risk par rebalancing. Was CEI halted again? Yes, it was, Mr. Boulay. We actually now have 2 halts. It was just halted at 2 p.m., 2:40:48. So what was the most recent one? It's going to be a 10-minute halt. So at basically 2:51, it'll be unhalted. So it looks like whatever 2:51 is. So you have a couple minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. 2:51 p.m. Eastern unhalt on CEI. And here, I can throw up CEI there. But I'm trying to find any info on this marinara vote. Seems like it could be kind of interesting. Where is it? Does Walter Bloomberg have it? Walter Bloomberg. White House says we knew it would be a compromise on top line amount for budget bill. Robinhood says content partnership with Snapchat to bring Snacks brand of financial content to Snapchat's mobile first audience. Why in the world is Snapchat doing any partnership with Robinhood? US dollar index rises. All right. Boeing US Air Force contract C-17 sustainment partnership with phase contract valued at up to $24 billion. Fed Reserve repo usage rises to a record 1.416 trillion. Powell, stablecoins can be very popular. We need to be careful as they are outside regulation. Well, of course, the Federal Reserve and our current power hates crypto. House plans to vote on debt limit today. So did the House actually conclude their vote? It sounds like it's going on right now. If someone in chat knows where we're at on either of the votes, it would be appreciative to share. Robinhood wants access to the nudes. CEI or tech checks looks like a classic short attack. I don't think so. No way. No, this is just selling. I mean, look at the volume. A short attack. I don't even know if there's that many people loaning it out. I mean, the amount of volume that we've traded now in the past. I mean, this is like when people say a classic short attack, I guess I almost get a little confused. Like, what about the chart is a short attack? Like, it just looks like people sold. Like, on a chart, selling looks like selling. Like, unless I'm completely missing something, selling is selling. People locking in gains. It got halted and people freaked out. So then that caused them to sell more. But like, did they sell more to create a position as in go short? Or was it longs who have been in this ever since what, the past 3 weeks, who are like, whoa, we have a crazy run. We see some serious weakness. Time to lock it in. All right, let me give you the Ortex numbers. Let's dive into some of the math. Let's see what's up. CEI. CEI right here. Okay, so CEI, they borrowed almost 18 million today. And the short interest is estimated to be at 44%. So they borrowed 18 million, but we've traded almost 700 million, 684. So let's just do whatever this number would be. What is it? 18 divided by 684. That's 2%. At 2.5%, 2.6%. We could even call it 3%. So really not much of today's volume is in any way, it's just not a big portion of it. 18 mil when we're talking about 700 mil. To me, this is going to be the mixture. The mixture of, like, I guess people are panicking now, which is, this seems crazy. This seems absolutely crazy. What was that other main oil one that people were talking about? I wonder, did something get announced with oil? Or is this just like, wow, look how quickly these gains got undone today. Right before power hour? This seems really, really strange on CEI. Here, I'll go to the minute just so you could see it a little bit more acutely. But once again, for CEI, utilization around 75%, probably higher now because there was a net borrow of 13 mil. Short interest is 44%. Those are some impressive numbers. If the vote doesn't pass, you think we see more red? In terms of the debt, yeah. If you're referring to the debt ceiling. Well, also, if the vote is no on Marinara, look for Tilray to continue its trip downward. It is down a couple percentage points today. But yes, I do. If the vote is no, I would expect more red. Man, I am way behind. My apologies. This is from Ken Griffin earlier when I was playing that CEO, the Mark video. He said, don't play that video. If that's the case, so why are we in AMC for a huge squeeze play then? By that guy's video means that the squeeze will never happen. No. I wouldn't interpret it that way. And my quantitative evidence for it would be, look at what happened in June. Obviously, we have the capability of running from sub 10 to 72. So it's not like there's still hedge funds who are short. And that's why I was explaining the two verticals, Tommy from the Bronx, is that's why you have to understand the difference of, okay, like market makers can do this, but hedge funds are still going to run for the hills. And that's very, very important to understand of, like, when you're talking about the people who are shorts and naked shorting, you're talking about two different camps, and it's very bad to conflate one with the other. It looks like CEI was halted again, this time for an upside volatility halt. But anyway, This is exactly why I was diving into the two verticals. 100% why I was diving into the two verticals. People like the hedge funds do not have such a easy way of kicking the can down the road. But even with that, by that guy's video means that the squeeze will never happen. I don't buy it, because like we still, market makers and hedge funds, not much has changed, and we still got gigantic movements in GameStop and AMC. If the market makers can generate short shares and not pay interest to maintain, according to how they define that, that would cause them obligated to buy back. They just don't want to carry the position indefinitely. TLT would be for the bonds. Does Ortex include Citadel or Virtu short interest? I feel like that is an important question to ask. We need to make sure. No, because that's not happening like on exchanges. Like they're just doing that by them. Depends on their short interest. The short interest is prime brokers loaning it out. There's no way that a market maker would be going to a prime broker to take a short when they can almost act as like their own facilitator. So a Citadel Virtu short interest would not be included in Ortex, because the Ortex numbers are being sourced from prime brokers. In no way would a prime broker be approached by a market maker for its own position. What happens to naked shorts if a company is bought with all cash? Love you, Matt. Cash probably wouldn't change, wouldn't really matter here. What happens to naked shorts? So you're talking about someone is short without ever out locating it. It's still probably the same thing as normal okay, now it's like, what kind of shorts? Are you talking about market maker naked shorts, or are you talking about prime broker naked shorts? If it's prime brokers, it's still the same as normal, of like the onus is on them to fix the position. And with that'll be easily tracked by the DTCC, the NSCC of like, hang on, you have all these FTDs, like what's going on? But then it gets into the really complicated argument of like literally storing them offshore in a warehouse, in an FTD warehouse. But in terms of buying it and with cash, that's not really going to change the scenario. Non-financial advice: sell all your stock, buy diapers only. It works for me. That's from Kenneth C. Griffin. Thoughts on USWS? Is this another oil one that's going crazy? So I feel like something was there some development in oil? Because look at right here, this is the same timing. It seems like oil, this oil, what happened? Was there some sort of update? Because it wasn't just CEI. Good compromise. I'm trying to see if there's any oil related update or energy related update or something. Natural gas dropped 7% on warmer forecast. Largest one day decline. So it sounds like there's some sort of report that came out on weather forecasts. October is supposed to be warmer than normal. So that is taking some sort of hit on the oil gas world right now. Hey, Matt, is it worth holding AMC at this point? If the system is rigged and will not go in our favor, what is the likelihood for AMC to squeeze? I don't think there's any mathematical way to say, oh, the percentage of the squeeze is at like X percent. I don't know if there is. I'm not aware of that model. To me, it's worth holding AMC, but I can't answer that for you. I'm of the mindset of, if you are noticing something that is inappropriate for the world, for society, and in this case, it's detrimental to Wall Street, to me, it's worthwhile to fight against it. But that's my own opinion. It's all up to you. All of you listening right now, there's a good chance you know the entire story. And the question is, does the story resonate with you? I cannot tell you what to do. I am not a financial advisor. For me, the story, what this story is, what it was, what it could become, it's all worth it. When I don't know, I guess my mindset on it is, just because you notice something going on that's like, and it's a tough battle, you don't just shrug your shoulders and be like, oh, okay, like not worth it. To me, it's worth it. It's not like we're fighting a god here. I mean, look at it. Look at the run up in June. Look at the run up in January. Look at the hedge funds that went under. It's a tough battle, but it's not an impossible battle. And that's up to you. If you want to fight it or not, I'm fighting it because I think it's a very, very important battle to fight. Can you help me see the short interest and utilization rate on BBIG? BBIG has a short interest estimation of 28.75% and utilization of 98.86. How is BBIG doing? BBIG is down 2.7% on the day. Looks like it's heading back down to 550 as of now. At gap filled, still showing weakness. Watch for 550. If BBIG does not catch at 550, you might be saying hello to sub 4, maybe even 3 flat. So BBIG, you want this to turn around, and you want it to turn around now. And I would say the support line, hopefully the price level where serious demand is found, comes a little, I guess, 50 cents south at 550. Below that, things could get hairy. What do you think about HLBZ chart? Someone asked about this today. Was a potential gap fill, but showing a lot of weakness right here. You could watch 1350. The way I would look at it is pretty simple, honestly. Above 1550, I would look for the gap fill up to 19. Below 1350, I would look for the gap fill to 1050. That's how I would play this scenario. AMC inverse head and shoulders pattern on the daily candle chart. Probably already played out though. Shoulder, head, shoulder, shot up to 53. Shoulder, head, shoulder, shot up to 53. There was an inverse head and shoulder right now, or there was previously between July and late August, mid-July, late August, but not so much currently. Yeah, I don't think so. I guess I don't know what time frame you're on. You said daily. On the daily one, I think that one's already played out. Gasparino tweet acknowledging AMC. What is Sorry Charlie doing? I've been dubious about Robinhood, about the Robinhood conspiracy, but the sale of AMC here looks pretty suspicious. See below. What? Are we being gaslit? So the Reddit that we went over of like Robinhood people selling, I've been dubious about Robinhood, about the Robinhood Citadel Securities conspiracy, but the sale of AMC here looks pretty suspicious. See below. Are we in the upside down? Did Sorry Charlie just like say something that wasn't like completely attacking us? Charles Gasparino right here. I think we're currently living in the upside down. So right here, it's like a double. So right here, the same thing we went over. I sold my AMC today. FYI, tomorrow I'm moving GME right here. And then this is from Unusual Whales. And then someone tagged Sorry Charlie in it. And even he said, I've been dubious about the Robinhood Citadel Security conspiracy, but the sale of AMC here looks pretty suspicious. See below. What? I don't know. That's insane. That right there, folks, we are living in the moment that shows anything can happen. Right there, what other proof do you need that I guess like miracles are possible in this world? And for anyone who's saying like, oh, like this totally can't happen. I mean, we just saw Sorry Charlie talking about how he like somehow agreed that maybe the apes got something right. That's insane. You guys just witnessed a miracle. Please take that moment in. What is halted? I am sorry, super new here. No. Hey, all levels are welcome. This is a very good question. Hey, folks, if you have a question, there's a good chance that literally hundreds of other people have that exact same question. Please don't think it's like stupid or anything like that. So halted is when the market stops the trading of a stock. So you have individual brokerages. These are not decided by the brokerage. It's not like Robinhood stops the trading, Webull stops the trading, E-Trade or Interactive. They're not the ones who decide it. Like the overall market's like, hang on, we're going to stop the trade. That's what halted means. It's halting the actual trading of a security or an ETF or something along those lines. And it's market wide for every single brokerage. And there's various reasons to get halted. The most common one is referred to as a circuit breaker halt. And that's just when a stock moves too much of a percentage in too short of a time. And the concept of it is to calm people down. It tends to have the opposite effect just because many people have up screeners where they're like, hang on, show me all the halts. And as soon as it unhalts, like you see more volatility and more volume. So it kind of has the opposite effect of what it's like pitched to do, just so you know. But that's what a halt is. That's a great question. Bummed because I'm out of day trades and I have all my extra capital in CEI and DATs. Hopefully this turns around enough so I'm not poorer tomorrow. King Kong, I mean, we just witnessed a miracle, so I think you could see another miracle today. I heard things like that happen in 3, so that's one miracle. Sorry, Charlie. So be on the lookout for 2 extra miracles today. What's our next spot to hold the line? 32. Yes, good call. Very, very good call. So, well, honestly, it could bounce in here. Like there are other important levels. For example, 35 would be a level of support, resistance support. So I would say 35 first, 32.20, and then 29. I'm in no way here to bullshit you. AMC sub 29, that would be a rough scenario. We would have a lot of ground to make up. I'm in no way saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying, hey, this is the low ever since May. We don't want to give the bears that kind of momentum. We don't want to see the bears somehow develop that form of a momentum. If it happens, does that mean that it's done? No, but it means we have quite a bit of ground to make back up. What do you think about Prague up 20% today? High short interest, gap fill 160, valuation CNN double, or volume over? Yeah, so Matt's quivery colon. Prague, I do like it for a gap fill play. Wall Street Viking was talking about it this morning. Oops, I didn't want to do that. I do like it for a gap fill to 147-ish. I like the strength. Obviously, first you have to watch 125, but after 125, I would watch 147. I love this stock more than Mormons love condos. Kisses. Hypothetically, if AMC bought another company for a stock swap, could that force a squeeze? I don't think so. Because that still wouldn't force a buy-in or anything like that. Force a squeeze. When people are talking about forcing a squeeze, you need to put extra pressure on the shorts. That's like when people are saying force a squeeze, that's what I think of is like, okay, so for example, when you do a dividend payment or a special dividend payment, the reason that could force a squeeze is because if you're short, you're the one that has to pay the dividend. So it's all about like, in this one, you're saying if AMC bought another company for a stock swap, would that force a squeeze? Well, I don't, maybe I'm missing something, but how would that put extra pressure on the shorts? Like what would be the financial detriment to the shorts in that scenario? Oil prices are up $80 a barrel for the first time in 3 years. What's your short-term plan for AMC? Oh, easy. Hold. And when I see it bend back around, add to my position. That's my... When you know your video is going to get demonetized, duck it. Yeah, I mean, it happens quite a bit to me. I figure YouTube already hates me so much that, like, what's the big deal? Explain who Sorry Charlie is. Where's next support? I don't know what stock you're referring to on that one, Chris. But Sorry Charlie is Charles Gasparino. I don't know if I still have his Twitter up, but he is I believe he says he's a journalist. It depends on how you define journalist. If you think journalists are people who can just like actively lie about anything they want to lie about, yeah, well then he's a journalist. But I also think that's a very interesting definition of journalism. But I believe he works at Fox. And the reason we talk about him is because he's like outspokenly against the ape community. He's outspokenly supportive of Citadel Securities and Robinhood, which is why one of his most recent tweets makes me feel like we're in the upside down. How is something like CI where retail investors lose thousands in a couple of seconds and can't do anything about it legal? Same BS in AMC. Well, you could still trade. I'm a little confused, Timby. Where thousands in a couple of seconds and can't do anything about it. You're not blocked from it. If you're blocked from trading, everyone is blocked from trading. It's not like when the halts occur, only like hedge funds or institutions can trade. No, if you're blocked, everyone is blocked. So the thing about you can't do anything about it, like you can do something about it because you trade when everyone trades. So right now, it being halted, it's halted for everyone. It's not like hedge funds are trading right now. It's not like market makers are trading right now. If it's halted for you, it's halted for everyone. Are you going to acknowledge that the paragraph numbers are out of order? Yeah, they put it together to show the contradictions that Robinhood has, like, I guess, found itself in. That's what I was fact checking before. So on this one, I see it 220, 12, 15, 16, 140. And that's why I quickly shut up. I checked that they're all in there. They just put them differently to show the inherent contradictions that Robinhood has been running on. Does it have to be in order to like show that someone is lying? All right. My thoughts on FAMI. Looks strong right here. Looks like it wants to push this 30-cent resistance, and then you're looking for kind of a double gap fill up to 46. But I mean, I'm not going to play it because it's a food. It's a penny stock, so not exactly my style. But from a technical perspective, I mean, you are risking 33%. We're trading at what, 30 cents? Your risk is 20 cents. But with that, you're looking at a gain of 50%. So it's a high risk to reward play. But from a technical perspective, I do like it. I don't like how far away the risk is, but that means you probably just take a smaller bet then. If you were to create a comedy TV show, could you tell us what it would be about? Yeah, I guess if I were to create a comedy TV show. So I've already kind of pitched this idea to my buddy. And it's just always, I don't know, it's just like a joke we have. It's not like we would actually do it, but it's just like always if we could come up with the most absurd idea. And one of my ideas, I was walking through a park in Philly and there was this like a karate class going on of this like high schooler looking person, like younger high school. Like if I had to guess, he was probably like 14 or something, teaching even younger kids. Like I'm assuming the intro to karate or something like that. And they were in the park and they were in their like whole get up and stuff. And I had the idea, I was like, how funny would it be if like someone saw that, like two adults, like even older than the instructor, and they show up and they're a white belt and they're in their get up. And I was like pitching this to my friend of like, this sitcom would be that these two guys join who like they're awkwardly old and they don't really listen. They're just there to beat the crap out of each other. Like two buddies, like they show up to karate, like they think they can fight and all they do is like fight each other in this park with like these younger kids and this like even like also like a younger teacher. I just thought it'd be funny. I thought have like good comedic points to it. But yeah, I'm just picturing two guys showing up to a karate class being taught by a high schooler, but like grown men, and then they just fight each other like every day, and that's how they like care about karate. Great question though. I like that. First creamer the other week, and now sorry Charlie, the whole media pivot is feeling very sus, but it is because the market makers have taken them off the payroll, or who knows? It feels, I don't know what's shifting, but it feels like something is shifting. And I think it's because people are starting to actually build true like legal case. Well, it's been built, but now it's becoming public. The true legal case of against Robinhood and against Citadel. What is the vote that is happening for Marinara? I think someone mentioned federal legalization, but I'm not seeing anything about it myself. Are sellers outweighing buyers in AMC? Because if not, then how do you believe they keep dropping it like 2 to 3% daily? You like calls 40 to 52 weeks out. I do not like calls 45 to 52 weeks out. And your sellers never outweigh your buyers, ever. It's impossible. In the market, every buyer has a seller, every seller has a buyer. There's no other way for a market to function. You don't buy from the ether, you don't sell into the ether. For you to sell, someone has to buy it off of you. For you to buy, you have to buy it off of someone. And that could be another retail, you could be talking about a hedge fund, a pension fund, a big bank, a market maker, another high frequency trader. It doesn't matter. The core axiom of any functioning market is that, well, think about how you buy anything in this world. You have to buy it off of someone or some store or something like that. And for you to sell it, you can't just sell it into the ether and hope that someone picks it up later. Someone sells it to you, you buy it off of someone. So are sellers outweighing buyers in AMC? No. It's always the same. For every buyer, there is a seller. For every seller, there is a buyer. And then the next question is, and I get why this is a good question. It's probably the most common follow-up question is, well, hang on. Whoa there, duck kid. If you're telling me every buyer has a seller and every seller has a buyer, how in the world does a stock move? This is a great question. And let me learn you something. It's all about the price that's agreed upon. So I always come back to my painting scenario. So say there's an artist, I really like his art, and I'm like, hey, I'll buy that off of you for $100. He gives me the painting, I give him the $100. There's a buyer, me, there's a seller, him. We agreed on a price and I got the thing. So in this case, the painting is equivalent to a share of stock and I gave them the money. So I gave the painter $100. He gave me the painting. We agreed on it. So let me say I'm holding on to that. I'm diamond handing this painting and the painter takes off and there's a high demand for his work. Someone comes up to me and they're like, hey, you have one of his paintings. I'll give you $1,000 for it. Okay, so same thing. In this scenario, I'm the seller, he's the buyer, he gives me $1,000, I give him the painting. A couple of years later, the guy goes completely Van Gogh and he chops off his ear. Everyone loves his art. Now this third guy, some big guy comes in, he's like, I'll buy that off of you for 10 million. Right there, he gives him the painting, the next guy gives him the 10 million. In this overall scenario, we have 3 buyers, 3 sellers. The one thing was exchanging hands, as in this is the painting, aka a share of stock. The difference is the price agreed upon. That's the only difference. Right now, the buyers and sellers are all agreeing that AMC is worth $35.91 per share. For GME, the buyers and sellers are all agreeing that it's worth $177 per share at this exact moment in time. And the way it derives its value, so for example, in that painting, it was just like, okay, it's supply and demand. Like, do you want it? Is he a fancy Van Gogh artist? AMC, GME, what's the company doing? Do people like the box office? Do they like GME's NFT? Are they paying more because they think it's going to squeeze? Value comes from a lot of things. It just doesn't have to be fundamental value, but it's all the perception of value. How valuable is something? Is it a painting? Is it a share of stock? Is it whatever? Is it a digital piece of art? Is it a digital moment? Value can come from anywhere in this world. But it's all about where does the market perceive its value is currently at. For example, CEI at one point today, everyone agreed it was worth $3. Later in the day, everyone agreed it was worth $4 to $80. And right now, everyone is agreeing that it's worth $310, $312. It's all a beautiful symphony of supply and demand, and the price is the equilibrium between the two. If you have aggressive buying, that represents more demand, and it goes up because you're overrunning supply, and naturally the price has to go up. On the other hand, if there's too much supply, if you're going to end up coming down and you're overwhelming the supply, you're overwhelming the demand, and the price drops. The price level is always the equilibrium between supply and demand. And this just comes back to the point that every buyer has a seller, every seller has a buyer. There's no way you can get outside of that. If all apes with share lending off started buying and selling 10 shares back and forth at 100, wouldn't that reflect the price? Hedge commuters manipulate it down. Why can't we manipulate it up? There's like a couple incorrect assumptions in here, Kevin, about how the stock market works. Remember, we're all engaging in the exact same stock market. So you're saying, can apes buy 10 up and down, up and down, up, like buying it, selling it to another ape, buying it, selling it to another ape? You can't do that because you're targeting another ape. And if the majority of the market doesn't think it's worth that price, we're not going to be at that level of equilibrium. So when you're doing this, that's part of the problem here of like kind of what you just said of why can't we just buy it, sell it higher, buy it, sell it higher, buy it, sell it higher. It's the exact same reason of why, like the fact that we can't do that, it tells me that when everyone's pitching this like idea of a short ladder attack, well, if we can't do this like Jenga ladder thing up, like that means that they can't do it down. That's why I don't buy this concept of everyone acts like there's always like a short ladder attack, like every single day, as soon as they see a red bar, short ladder attack, short ladder attack, short ladder attack. Well, if they could do that, then you would have people who are long on it, such as Vanguard and BlackRock, do the exact opposite and undo it. So to me, I'm not saying short ladder attacks are in any way like fake and not real. I just think they happen at a much greater rarity than it's like stated on social media. And it happens in certain environments when there's not much volume and there's not many participants in that individual security. What qualifies the stock able to have option trading? It's really demand. If there's a market demand for it, they build out an options market for it. And it's the same thing for all the expiration dates. Like some of them have dailies, some of them have weeklies, monthlies. It's all of the demand and basically the interest for how those much are going to be actively traded. They're not going to build out a full options market for something that no one wants to trade options on. Does creating a 100 limit order for 100 shares contribute to driving up the price? In the scenario that it's done on a lit exchange and a lot of people are doing it, it could, but not from a technical perspective. It would be more from a psychological perspective. But you just doing that, like throwing the order up, that doesn't add extra demand. So it can, but maybe not for the reason that you're thinking. Sitcom where two Kennys have to switch places. One has to play the sax and the other one has to not blink during hearings. All right, what do we have here? Modern Day Explorer live, the video of the MJ vote. With CEI has been halted how many times? Many trading halts. Look at halt. CEI has been halted many times. Live video of MJ vote. What is this one?
It's genuinely improved. And the patent...
We'll have to see where that goes, but I guess there is that vote. The markup, HR 3429. Currently in the middle of the budget vote per the press secretary, and they are not allowed to get the numbers per press secretary. Thank you, JTH Woods. Seems like the dump of 8 mil on the first red candle pulled the plug for a lot of day traders. Most likely what happened, yes. Thoughts on Tesla all whippy dippy. Tesla. So think about it this way. As oil and natural gas go up, that makes it more expensive, and it actually improves the overall thesis for EV. It makes it on a relative basis cheaper for EV then. So as you see oil go up, there's a good chance that EV will also go up because people don't want to waste money on oil and gas, and you get closer to a price parity. So as oil and gas continue to go up, look for the EV sector to also rise. In terms of the shorter time frame, though, we just have an inside day, no direction. You're looking for the breakout of the high 790s, aka 800, or a breakdown of, I guess, 760, 770. Would the U.S. default on debt be a doomsday scenario or just a minor pullback worth liquidating some holdings in order to free up some ammo on the dip? I would think it would be somewhere in between. I don't think it would just be like a minor 2% correction, but I don't think it would be a doomsday scenario either. But we would see some red. I think we would see some serious red, and that's no reason to panic, especially if you're watching here. I'm hoping that you're developing the skill set to make money in all market scenarios, up, down, sideways. There are ways to play it for you to be profitable if you get the direction right. So for me, stonks made me do it. I would probably, if we ended up defaulting, I would play the trip down. I would get puts. I would buy puts. I would maybe sell calls, or I'd buy calls on volatility, and then as soon as buyers step in, I would flip it and try to buy the dip and hope that I timed it properly. That's way easier said than done. It's a little bit more of a art form and luck rather than a science, but that's probably what I would at least attempt to do, and I guess we'll find out if I'd be accurate or not. MVIS. Microvision looks weak. Looks like it's heading back down to 975 right now. Broke some support, and the overall market's running into some headwinds. I would watch the support from early March and kind of the end of April at just sub 10 on MVIS. Mateo, technical setup for CPNG, want to buy for long. CPNG. Internet retail. I don't know. It looks like it just hit an all-time low. I don't know. It seems like you might be catching a knife. I would want to see some demand actually come back in, because right now all I see on it is selling. It hit an all-time low 2 days ago, and it's still within striking distance of an additional all-time low. I would wait until I see some form of buying coming in. Lots of people talking about FAMI. Lots of people talking about it. We got some movement. Hey, Matt, why doesn't the AMC options premium reflect the crazy low IV? Premiums are still high. On a relative basis, they aren't. They might, like, compared to, I don't know, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, they're pretty low. They literally just take IV, and that's part of the equation of how you price it. That's, if maybe you've heard of like the Black-Scholes model, but anyway, IV is like literally right in there. So as the IV drops, your premiums are naturally going to be cheaper. But in sell-offs like this is actually an increase in volatility. When you see things go aggressively down or up, that's naturally increasing the volatility. So overall, we are seeing volatility kind of drop, but maybe right now it is. But also, like earlier today, this is more of a volatility move, kind of. It depends what time frame you're kind of comparing it to. We're on the lower end of volatility, but we've seen lower, and we've also seen extremely higher volatility on AMC. But remember, when it comes to options pricing, if you're talking about calls or puts, doesn't matter. The three most important things are the value of the underlying asset, the volatility, and also the time until expiration. Those are like the three main things that drive the pricing of a call or a put, of basically just an options contract. All right, CEI looks like it's bouncing off of $3. It's currently at $3.39. Did this get halted again? Yeah, it got halted again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's been halted 3 times already today. Seems like it all happened in the past, hour as well. CEI, we got to check out the flow on this bad boy. I guess it has no info on it. That's crazy. CEI not messing around. Matt, too soon for Baba leaps, or do you see more downside for Baba? So I'm actually a big fan of Baba. Big fan of Baba. I think it's actually one of the most undervalued stocks in the entire market. But the reason I'm hesitant to be like, yeah, I think this is a good buy right now is because what's driving its price action is much more of political tensions between the US and China, and also between the Chinese party and Jack Ma, the creator of it. So right here, that's a good example of some stock for quite a while trading under its fundamental value. But it's a bummer because I think Alibaba is a great company. It has direct access to a huge market. It has some impressive technology. But right now, that shows the weight of political tension. Power hour. Yeah, power half hour. We have about 30 minutes left. CEI, we're going to be waiting, I don't know, about like 8 more minutes until the third unhalts. FAMI, having a good day. So currently, CEI, even though it sold off quite a bit, it's still green on the day. You're still up over 5%. FAMI is up currently 40%. So both of these stocks are just rocking. Went from 1,700 went from up 1,700 down 1,500 on CEI, holding strong to bring more tendies to AMC. Shout out Tony D. Can you check my prior message on if we are in a falling wedge that can break to the upside big? All right. I'm assuming you're talking about the daily chart. Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying here. It depends on how you want to draw the bottom wedge. I mean, there's going to be multiple ways to draw it, but overall, we are seeing a pattern of lower highs and lower lows, which would be a falling wedge scenario. The question is, when is the demand going to show up to bounce it off of a support, break the wedge, and start ripping back higher? But overall, as much as I talk about gap fills, AMC still has the gap fill to 44.20. It's just kind of, in my mind, a question of when will this gap be filled? Do you see a likely scenario where AMC doesn't reach 50 again? I mean, I don't know what you mean by likely or not likely. I think the edge, if we're talking in the terms of statistics, I think there's a better probability of AMC returning to 50 than not returning to 50. But with that's tough to say because, like, I'm sure a lot of people listening, they're like, well, okay, what about the time frame? And then when you're throwing that in, that becomes even more difficult to answer. But I would say the statistical edge, were it reaching 50 again, but that's also not a guarantee. Like, you can't guarantee anything in the stock market. And there's a lot of creators out there that piss me off because they try to guarantee things. Someone got timed out. Matt, why are they saying you sold all of your AMC? Folks, they didn't. As of right now, I make it very, very clear. I currently own a 4-figure share amount of AMC and a 3-figure share amount of GME, and I have no options on either of them at this moment in time. I am long on AMC. I am long on GME. As of right now, Wednesday. Is today Wednesday? I think it's a Wednesday. Let's say it's a Wednesday. Wednesday, September 29th, 3:30 p.m. The sentences I just said are very much true. But in a scenario that they weren't, which they are, doesn't matter. I'm like one individual. It's not like I'm playing with some mega 7-8 figure account. I'm not. I'm playing. Some people would think that my account's big. Other people would think that my account's small. I don't know. It's weird that people are trying to say like, and I hear this a lot about my ownership and Trey's ownership. Why does our ownership matter to you? Like in the slightest. I'm in it because I see potential, but you should see the potential in the stock, not what some YouTube personality. Like the value of a stock should come from your DD, not what someone on YouTube like, oh, I saw this guy on YouTube's in it, so I'm in it. Like what? That's like one of the most horrific ways to trade and invest I've ever heard of. So yes, I promise you, I'm in AMC, I'm in GME, I have money in both of them, I'm long in both of them. I want them to both be highly successful. But like all these like keyboard warriors who are trying to say like, it's such a strange argument to me. I've never ever made a trade based on what some social media person said about it. That's crazy dangerous. Scott C becoming a space ape, shout out. Not a hedge fund, that's funny. Matt, why is CEI still trading on Hood? Can you check? I mean, CEI is trading everywhere right now. The halt's out. It's actively trading everywhere. I heard Matt is writing a relationship advice book. Frankly, B, Matt, AMC has broken all my minds. Do you think we are going to 32 before we bounce? So I actually have a line at the high 34s. That's the line I'm currently watching on AMC. What else do we have? What scenario would have to happen for ATR to be a dead cat? A dead cat, a dead cat, a dead cat. Things for ATER are currently hairy. Like I'm not here to like lie or make everyone like your money is at play. You all deserve my full opinions on everything. The fact that it broke down below 1120, the exact level I've been telling you about, and we're trading, it is low volume, so that's a low conviction move. But I mean, I said below 1120, this trend line, that opens up the door to 915. At this moment in time, I believe that ATR is on its way down to the low nines. I'm not here to like, I get that. I've heard this from, I guess, a couple people, and it's another argument I don't get. You in no way, well, of course you don't want me to lie, but you also don't want me to like beat around the bush. Your money is at play. You 100% want me to give you my exact, full, untethered opinion on everything. You don't want me to be here and be like, well, he's an ATR, and I'm like, well, it doesn't look the best, to be like, to give you some leeway. You should want me to tell you the straight up truth that's on my mind at every single second of the day. And that's what I give you. ATER, this breakdown, this technical breakdown that happened somewhat recently is not a good situation. It broke below the support of September 23rd, of the 24th. This trend line, right now, the bears are in control. And the next major support I see is in the low nines. And I would think that it's actually going to hit it, especially with the concern in the overall market between the SPY, the Qs, and IWM. I get it. I know some of you are going to get mad because you're in the position and you're like, well, why can't you just be absurdly bullish on everything that I'm in? Well, because I'm here to tell you my actual truth, like my true opinion, and not just be like, well, okay, this might be better, because like that could cost you more money, and I don't want to cost anyone money at all, ever. I'm trying to just give you my true opinion and try to at least bring you up to my level of trading, and I hope that many of you who are listening right now surpass my ability of trading. I think that would be absolutely amazing, but I'm not going to just I guess try to use some fancy words and sentences when it's not just how I feel. Like this right now, ATER is not looking good. It looks like we're heading to the low nines, and we could reevaluate it in the low nines. That's as straight up as I can be about it. Oh, Kyle, I need to get back into the Discord. Oh, I heard you were being rude to the mods in the Discord, and that's why they ended up kicking you. So I feel like you have to look yourself in the mirror and ask why you got kicked out. I just joined, busy working earlier today. Will not ask any stupid questions till tomorrow. LOL. Happy Bleeping Wednesday. What's going on, Rob? Matt, when charting, do you include hours in pre and post market data? Can those hours skew your analysis? I like to do both. I really do, to understand if I have a different opinion, because sometimes when something runs and like breaks for an intraday breakout, you could see it stall at the pre-market high because there's enough other people paying attention to the pre-market high. So I'll like to use both. Like, I view it as the more data, the better. You claim that stock price is based and agreed buy and sell price. So if 5 million apes agree to buy and sell 10 shares at 100, it wouldn't affect the price. It's not me who claims it. I do claim it, but literally everyone who's like a legitimate trader and knows about stock market actually claims that. But the issue in your thesis, if 5 million apes to agree to buy and sell 10 shares at $100, it wouldn't affect the price. No, if it goes there, like if that 5 million overwhelms all of the supply up to that level. Remember, we trade within the NBBO, the national best bid, the national best offer. During 9:30 to 4 p.m. Eastern, you cannot trade outside of it. So in your example, the 5 million apes all trying to buy 10 million or 10 shares, that would be 50 million shares. That would blow the national best offer out of the water, and the price would go absolutely sky high. If simultaneously 5 million apes all bought 10 shares, that's 50 million shares, the national best offer would go sky high because you're soaking up all that supply. That would 100% have a gigantic impact on it. But right here, you claim the stock price is based on, I mean, anyone who knows about the stock market would know that that's how it works. Like, this is the concept of buying and selling is in no way a contentious thing. Like, everyone, like, that's just like a widely agreed upon thing. Like, that's the discussion and the intellectual debates are much more detailed and in the weeds. It's not the concept of like buying and selling. Like, everyone's kind of on that same page of supply and demand, buyers having sellers, sellers having buyers. What are your thoughts on URG? Looks a bit weak to me. I mean, it's at support right now of 162. I hope it catches itself there and kind of breaks out of this downward wedge. You have support be in the low 160s, basically. From there, 140. If it bounces off of those, I would then be watching about 185-ish and then maybe 210. But right now I'm still seeing some weakness. Just buyers aren't stepping back in. Nice run from mid-August up until mid-September. But from mid-September until the end of September, it's just been the bears are in control. So what would the impact of 8,924 apes have? Not much. So 9,000 apes all buy 10 shares, that's 90,000 shares. They've traded 39 million. 90,000 is a drop in the bucket of 39 million. In the very short time frame, you would see a pop if somehow there was a coordinated effort for 9,000 people to all buy 10 shares. If 9,000 of us all put up $360 on the line, you would see like maybe a bar like this. But I mean, you have to look at the volume. All the volume bars in AMC are clearing 90,000. You have to think about like what that represents in terms of overall 90,000. It's very, very small compared to 39 million. And I get it. That's the daily volume. So like I said, you'd see a green bar, you'd see a quick pop, but you might return very quickly right back down to equilibrium unless you force a new equilibrium. But 90,000 shares in AMC would not do much. Honestly, 90,000 wouldn't do much in GME, which is only traded 1.54 million. That's what, 1/15 of all the volume. So you would see a bigger green bar, but would it stay that? Would people just like take advantage of that? And like, if there's bag holders or something like that, you never know about the repercussions. Or maybe the opposite side. Maybe it causes a breakout, people get above a volume and it triggers them to buy. But if you were to look at it in a vacuum, not much. Basically, for a very short period in time, you would wipe out the ask. And it depends on how quickly the sellers and market makers replenish the liquidity on the ask side. Can I do a CEI check? Yes. Short interest on CEI is 46.49% with a utilization of 75 and shares on loan of, after today, 58 million. Hey, Matthew, you think ATR has a chance to recover if the Gov takes care of business tomorrow and FAMI is a legit play? Worried it might be pushed. So I don't know much about FAMI, but from what I know, it does seem like a legit play. But also, like, what is a legit play and what isn't? If you can make money, you're making money. To me, if it's a money making opportunity, then it becomes a legitimate play. What was the second part of yours? Oh, if the government takes care of things, yes. Remember, for the past couple days now, really the past, week and a half, we've seen a lot of red, and there's just money is exiting the market. And when you see that in all the indices selling off, that's not a good sign. When they pass the bill and take care of our debt issue, I think you'll see money fly back in, and naturally, like a rising tide raises all ships type of a deal. Please dive into the Ortex data for me, not understanding how the cost to borrow is so low with the current free float over 22%, because cost to borrow doesn't really have anything to do with the short interest. Cost to borrow has to do with the current supply and demand. How many shares are out there that are willing to be loaned and how many people are trying to go short. That's exclusively how cost to borrow is calculated. Has nothing to do with the current short interest. Naturally, there's going to be a correlation as one goes higher. Typically, so does the other, but it doesn't have to. Cost to borrow is computed by the amount of shares that broker has and how many people are trying to borrow those shares to go short. Did you see where Dave Portnoy shared evidence that Robinhood president sold his shares before they restricted buying? I didn't know that he was sharing it. I know that a lot of people in the community Where is this from? Robinhood Securities and CEO who tenant points to making the ultimate call. So it's not, I didn't interpret this as Robinhood selling or as Tenev said selling it. So the sentence is Robinhood Securities president and COO Jim, who Tenev points to as making the ultimate call to PCO, says in an internal chat on the 22nd, I sold all my AMC today. FYI, tomorrow we're moving GME. It sounds like the Jim guy sold. That's how I interpret it. Like if you read the sentence, Jim says in an internal chat, I sold my AMC today. FYI, tomorrow morning we are moving GME to 100%. So it sounds like Jim sold, not Vlad. I don't even know if Vlad had an AMC position, but it sounds like Jim sold. Please correct me if you think I'm interpreting it incorrectly. But when I read that sentence, it sounds like Jim was the person who was selling. I have 12.5 calls for ATR 1015. You No, Nicholas, right now I think ATR might be heading down to the low 9s. I'm not saying it was a ladder attack, but have you seen today's ladder attack on AMC? Oh, hey, Mark. Thoughts on HODL? Happy birthday. HODL to the moon, folks. HODL to the moon. Man, FAMI is ripping right now. Just so everyone knows, I have no FAMI position. I have no CEI position. All right, what else do we have? Why is AMC still down? Because there's more supply than there is demand right now. And that's what we're seeing in quite a few things across the entire stock market, unfortunately. Share my thoughts on Lucid. I am of the opinion that Lucid is a strong long-term EV play. I'm a fan of it. They have a good announcement. They're ramping up production. It's a US EV company, luxury market, great range. It seems like a great vehicle. I mean, I don't know. I don't see what there is to like dislike about Lucid right now. All right, AMC currently 35.60, GME 176.74, FAMI up 42%, CEI up 4.5%. CEI at all-time highs. That means buy high, sell short. Yeah, I don't know. Buying I don't like chasing highs. Like this is actually a good learning lesson on why you don't chase a high, because things like this happen. I mean, how many times over the past couple of days have I said, don't chase this high because now you're the bag holder? If you bought it early on when I was calling out, like saying, I think the perfect buy was at 170. Well, 170, that sucks because you were up $3 and now you're up, what, 2.5 or something like that. But this is chasing a running stock that's at a high. It just gets so dangerous so quickly. 14K lost more than I'm happy. I don't know why, but I love listening to you, man. Also, what do you think about DBGI? Oh, looks like it still needs to... did it gap fill? It might have had a perfect gap fill. A really strange, like... Was it just like perfectly... 3 to 340? It's like awkwardly just filling out this gap. I don't know. That's actually a really tough read right now. That's funny. Wanting sell cash secure put on AMC 10 contracts November 9th or December 17th to December is about double the credit. How do you select months? I guess it depends. Oh my God. Who is this? Like, why do people spread this? The account Nick is annoying. Trey showed he is short AMC. That's such a lie. Trey is not short AMC. Trey is in AMC. He's long AMC. Why do these dumbass bot accounts say that type of stuff? We got him. He got the boot. Seraphim Wit completely ripped his head off, like Tekken style, like fatality, just like ripped the jaw open. Done. Nick is gone. Shout out. This is why I have her working out on the Bowflex in the basement here, just so like when it comes time to do it, she can rip the heads off. All right, where are we at? Oh, wait. So back to this thing. I sold right here. Robinhood knew at the highest levels of the company that its risk management system was strained to the breaking point during the week of January 25th. Robinhood Securities President and COO Jim Swatwart, who Tenev points to as making the ultimate call to PCO. So you could just take that sentence out. Like, back to my grammar teaching, you could just say Robinhood Securities President and COO Jim says in an internal chat on January 26th, I sold my AMC. So Tenev is not the one who sold. Right here, Robinhood Securities President and COO says in an internal chat on January 26th, I sold my AMC today. So it was Jim who sold. I don't think it was Tenef. Am I interpreting that properly? Someone needs to let me know if I like still have the ability to read, because like you start to lose a lot of your brain functioning when you do this stuff day in and day out. You lose a lot of your brain functioning. Yes, you are right. Okay, someone said I'm right, so I feel like I'm right. One person on the internet's like, yeah. Fatality. No.
Welcome to the moon.
354.
Brother.
Chase Chest here says I'm right. Down 17.5K total on BBIG. ANA, would you hold or cut losses? I would never look at them like individually like that. I would look at the different ones of like what is going on. Like you have to take different stocks have different situations for all of them. I am not the person to be like, should I buy? Should I hold? Anything like that. I don't know your risk. 17.5 thousand. That might be all of your money, or that might be 0.001% of your money. I have no idea about your risk tolerance. I don't know about your time frame, your goals. Is it a long-term investment, short-term investment? And even if I knew all of that, I am not a financial advisor. Regarding my portfolio, I haven't seen this much rent since the first bar fight I was in last year. Someone needs to remind me tomorrow. We don't have enough time today, but I almost got into a fight over the weekend. It was really one of the strangest ways that I almost got into a fight. But someone tomorrow remind me about it, and I'll tell you. It happened at like the bachelor party type thing over the weekend at the bar. Weird event, like super, super strange. But as you can tell, I did not get into a fight, so. Testicles, I'm sweaty. The president of Robinhood sold off his AMC.
Whoa, brother. Big super chat.
All right, where are we at? In all seriousness, though, Matt, for a technical standpoint, it looked like AMC wanted to show some bullishness in the bell open and the flush right after the double bottom. I closed to selling everything today, but I couldn't find the damn sell button. What's going on, Dave? Hey, if you have conviction in your trade, like we're all in this for different reasons. We all have different goals. A lot of them align with many other people in this community. But this is what I'm talking about, is like you got to have a plan for any stock, AMC, GME, SPY, IWM, CEI, FAMI. Before you create the position, the trade, have a plan. What is your risk? What is your reward? Is it a certain time? Is it a percentage gain? Is it a, like, whatever? Are you just doing it until, I don't know, a market maker goes under and the SEC sues them to kingdom come? I don't know what your plan is, but create the plan before the trade is in there. And then when you're in the play, because you already have the plan, you know exactly what to do in whatever scenario. Don't create a position and then be like, what should I do now? That's not a good way to trade. Matt wears flannels with the top two buttons done up. Jackie Daytona, my own mod, verbally accosting me. LOL, why the flight? Someone downplay your potential. They did. They're like, they looked at me. Some guy came up to me, looked me dead in the eyes, and he's like, you have no potential. And I was like, come again? And he's like, you have no potential. And he did like the head bob thing, and I was like, and it drove me up the wall. And I was like, never again, Citadel. And I just snapped his neck and ran away. Pretty much. Disappointed at AMC. Me and you both. My account right now is hemorrhaging serious money. It's no bueno. No bueno. But it makes all those green days so much better. Mark, I'm trying to learn about the charts. The GMEs look slightly better over the past 5 months than AMC. Technically, no. Wait, is it? I mean, I'm just trying to think of the percentage gain over the past 5 months. I don't know. I'd have to look at the percentage gain over the past 5 months. Payday tomorrow, buying the hell out of this dip. Shout out Red. So Matt on the run for murder. Yeah, I run back to my like legally known residence and just continue to my job. They're like, well, he did say he has no potential. That would make any person mad. What else do we have? Coin long-term thoughts. I kind of like it. I do like Coinbase for the long run. All right. Where are we at? We have about 30 seconds, 45 seconds. So this is your 45-second warning in case you're trying to battle any PDT stuff for tomorrow. What else do we have? Do I speak Spanish? Very poorly and not much at all. Was the snapping his neck thing financial advice you didn't specify? Me, a borderline toddler of a man, think I have the strength to do that? Ding, ding, ding. The casino is closed. Hey, folks, not an ideal day, but I do implore everyone. I'm right there with you. I feel the pain. I see the red in my account. I'm sure a lot of you are looking at your account and you're like, this sucks. Couple things I need to say about that. First of all, have a trading plan. What's your risk? What's your reward? Whatever play you're in, you have to have a trading plan. Second thing, specific to AMC and GME, AMC's down 3.92%, GME's down 1.5%. You got to have a plan. You got to have a plan. And then when you have a plan, these days, you got to zoom out. See where we've been. AMC's at 35.60, GME's at 175. We've had days where we're excited and the price was way lower than where we're at right now. So please keep that in mind. When in doubt, zoom out. And the final thing is, specific to AMC and GME, remember, like, what's your point in this play? You got to know what your point in the play is. If your point in here was to get in, buy something, make easy money, and think it was going to fix all of your financial issues, I mean, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but that's not what AMC and GME is. AMC and GME is a brutal back alley fight between the retail trading public and the current Wall Street establishment. If you thought this was going to be easy peasy and you could like invest $1,000 and become some sort of multi-gazillionaire, you're not in the right play. No play in the world exists like that. Like, I know you're not in the right play because there's no play in the world that is that. So remember, have a trading plan for AMC and GME. When in doubt, zoom out, understand where we've been, understand where we're going. Like, I hear a lot of people saying about this whole thing of like, can they just keep doing it? Can they keep like running the stock down? AMC is up 1,585% on the year, and GME is up 840% on the year. So this concept of can they keep doing it? Like, these people who are short, they're the ones looking at this and be like, can the apes keep doing this? AMC's up 1,500% on the year. GME's up 800 whatever percent on the year. So I think everyone's like looking at through it of the exact optics of their own situation. And I implore everyone to do their best of like taking the situation for its reality. Where are we? Where have we been? What is the reality of where we could possibly go next? And very specific to AMC and GME, I find it way, way easier to think about it in this way of, am I personally willing to give up on the fight against what I perceive to be illegal, illegitimate actions in the stock market? No, because I want the market to be better for us. I want the market to be better for future generations. And I don't want the nefarious players to continue doing the things that they've been doing. So for me, I think of it that way. I'm not saying that's the proper way to think about it. That's how I think about it. You have to have a deep conversation with yourself on what's your point in this play, what's your mindset, what are your goals, what is your risk. This play, This is all individually our plays. And when we come together, we are the ape nation. We are the ape community. And that's what I think so awesome about it. But I'm hoping that someone out there that maybe you're potentially not having the best day, you're having emotional response because of what occurred in the stock market today. I'm hoping that maybe some of those words maybe help redirect your thoughts and get your mindset a little straight to better understand that we are engaging in a very serious digital fight through the stock market with a bunch of retail. It's the populist versus the elitist. It's not much of a joke when people are saying this truly is David versus Goliath, because that's exactly what we have going on right now. So thank you all for your support today. Of course, yada, 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 like, subscribe. I appreciate it. It does help me without the YouTube algorithm. Don't forget there is that backup channel, Kohrs Lite, if you want to hang out on there and see some of these extra clips that we end up posting. I truly, truly appreciate all of your support. All of you are absolutely phenomenal. Thank you so, so much. I will be posting an update video tonight, and then tomorrow, crack of dawn, normal day, 9 a.m. bright and early, I will be streaming once again. Doesn't matter if the stock's up, down, sideways, not leaving you. I will be here. As always, thank you for the support, and remember, from me and Chair, best of luck in the markets.